on here. Okay, back with another live stream. Let me check that live stream. Let's see. Well, I've got my laptop kind of further away. It's a little harder to see. Okay, we got sound and we got picture. All right, so I've got something that I want to open up. Another package. And let's see what I'm going to do. Okay, so I think I know what's in it, but let's go ahead and open it up and make sure. And then if it has the audio cable, I'm thinking it has, I'll probably test it on the Behringer here that I'm using to stream with. Let's see. I'm not using my lapels because they kept acting up. The last time I did a video with them, they kept cutting in and out. I don't know if it's, I thought it might be the USB, but then I got to thinking, well, it could be the cable because I rolled over it several times recently. In one video, I got rolled up in my wheels of my chair, and for all I know, it pulled them too hard or even cut into them. I didn't inspect every inch of it. You know, where like when it moves one way, it's working, and the next way, it's disconnected inside, the wires inside. So you can't see that if it's not cut, of course. But I haven't looked because I just hadn't had time. I didn't feel like I had, excuse me, time. So, but I can move my SM58 over there close enough to use. I've done it before, but I used to do it a lot when I didn't have a lapel. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go over there. Let's see. Can't figure out where to leave the keyboard. Okay. So, if I can just get in a place where I can get up close enough to work, and I don't really want to bang into the microphone. There, I don't want it in the way of what I'm trying to do. Okay, so get my little cut away from thyself with the sharp knife. I like, you kind of have to pull up on it to find that spot, but then I don't like having my fingers in there either, so I get them out quick as I can. Okay, yeah, there's that cable right on top. It's much smaller in diameter than I ever expected, and it has hard. I didn't expect that. I don't like those hard. Well, one good thing, that probably means you can unscrew it and repair it if it needed repairing. I don't like the hard plastic jackets there on the connector, because if you ever step on them, they usually crack and break. But some of them are fairly tough. Anyway, it's the same brand as the other ones, Tripp Lite. Since I've had good luck with, well, since they had really good, better reviews than any other cables I saw on Amazon, and because I've had really good luck with their power strips, you know, protection power strips and all that. And this is just regular stuff. Three of those. Those are cold pills, nighttime cold pills. Well, they're night and day. They're pretty good. They're like the, I'm going to say they're like the Tylenol, and they are, but to me, they're like the Walmart brands, their Walmart brands are cheaper. These are like $7 a box, and I get them whenever I can, but they won't ship them anymore, and when we do get our groceries by, you know, order them and then picking them up, but they're always out. And this is it's the best protein to me, the best tasting, and some of them are so hard I can't chew them. They actually hurt my jaw on one that was too hard for me to bite off. And I didn't realize it, and I kept trying, and then I made my jaw kind of get out of joint and hurt. Got my shoulder and my jaw doing that this year, here back and forth. Anyway, they have 21 grams of protein, and they will last you pretty good. They make you feel better for a good while. So I still don't eat. I usually only use them at night. You see, I'm diabetic, and so I can wake up just, feeling sick. And if I eat that, only downside, then I'll be all right, and I can get my rest without having to get up and get something to eat, like a whole meal or whatever, or even just going in there in the kitchen and all that. Only thing is that they're so gooey, I have to brush my teeth. I just have to. But it's better than going in there and putting stuff in the microwave and doing all that. But the only downside I was going to say is that they will also help you to sleep too long sometimes. So it's a 10-foot, 3.5 millimeter male-to-male cable. And I'm going to test it. I'm learning that anything you buy, you better make sure it works right quick before it's too late to send it back anymore. So let's see. Well, they don't want to unscrew. They probably will. They may have a little, glue on them or something, but I'm not going to unscrew them if they're not already loose. They look a lot. The connector actually, disappointed in the look and feel of that connector. It is, if I can stay in the picture or not, reminds me of the old Radio Shack cables and connectors. But the good thing about them was, you could take them apart and fix the wiring. You could cut the wire off, strip it, put it back on there, resolder it whenever it usually does break, like right there where it goes in, sometimes inside. These are probably glued or, with glue. It's probably super glue. It's probably not Loctite or anything. I'm starting to say it might be Loctite, but probably not. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, cable's kind of stiff, but not as stiff as others. Let's just see if it's 10 foot. Let me move my mic back over yonder. Get my measuring tape. I'm going to go ahead and re-end the camera over this way. Okay, let's see. I'll just get my keyboard tray out. And let's test this out. Okay, looks good. So at least I can show a little more of the, I lean back a lot in my chair. That looks kind of funny, doesn't it? That angle, but I don't care. Okay, so let's see. Feels like a 10-foot cable. Now I'm just going to start here at the end. Just keep pulling until we get to the other end. This is a 10-foot tape, I think, so it should pull out every inch of it. Maybe this ain't even a 10. This is not quite a 10-foot tape, I guess. That's 9 foot, 114 inches, and there's no more tape. Okay, 114 plus, supposed to be a 10-foot tape. Well, all the way to the end. I think they kind of, plus, they just say 9 inches right to from end of a connector to the end of the connector. So, see. Just grab my calculator. I started to turn one on the computer, but I'm on the camera. So let's go ahead and do both cameras. That's kind of what I had planned. Okay. $114 plus 9. 123. divided by 12. 10.25, yeah. So it is 10-foot cable. That's one thing you might want to pay attention to, because I see that in the reviews. It's a lot that you ordered a certain length, like a longer one, they get a lot shorter one. I figured it was when I pulled it out, and it looked like it. But now, what I'm going to do to test this is I'm going to go ahead and put my 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch adapters on there, and one on each end. This is one that was in my box of quick grab goodies, so it should be fine. If I have a problem, then I'll have to figure out some other way to test it without them. But I've got my tape deck up here in the rack over there. I'll plug it in on that side, and then I'll get over here and plug it into the board. Get my CD. I've got it. What did I do? Well, I got my CD out to make sure I had everything out, and now I don't know where I laid it down. Shouldn't have been so prepared, huh? I didn't put it into the CD because I wasn't sure. I thought, well, I'm not even sure if I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Let me get up and stand back and look. There we go. Drop the cable in the floor. Good place for it. That way I can roll the chair over it before I even test it. So this is my same CD I used last time. It's my own music with recordings I did with Marty. Marty Spawn played most of the music. A guy named Steve Bryan played some, and recorded it. Marty did most of the recording in his home studios, 2 different homes. Me and Marty started in 1992, and then I did some during the 90s with him, and then this is the first set that I put together in 2002. Actually, this has got some songs that was with another guy named, one song I think, with another guy named James, and me and James and Steve, and anyway, this is not the one. On my website I have my albums, Dawn Songs 002 and Living Beings Climate Control, that you can download for free at dawnsongs.com if you want. But anyway, this CD happens to be the very first draft. And again, I don't know, just say it again. The guy named James, he wasn't real happy with his guitar playing on. I'm not going to play that song. That's why. And so he didn't want me to make CDs with his playing. So several years later, me and Marty, that particular song, he made basically a new tune for it, so it's not even a copy, but it's my lyrics, my singing. I do the lyrics and the singing. So the whole point being that it's great. It's the simplest way to do cable tests is just play some music or something, and just plug it and unplug it and move it and do this and do whatever you need to do. Wiggle the cable, But you can't do that on YouTube without getting in trouble with copyrights. But this is my music, and I own the copyrights. So just so happens I do that. I used to do that stuff. I really haven't done it in years, but so I'm going to plug this in. Now that's plugged into the earphone output put on that. Not sure which way is the best way to do this. I think up and over the. No, that makes it get hung. It's probably better if it's hanging on the mic stand than any other thing. It's but the mixer, I figured out yesterday, day before, something I did not know. I don't know if this is a malfunction on my mixer. I hope not. I bought it. I guess I've had it a year now, but it's never been anywhere but right here on this desk. So it hasn't been beat around or anything. But I've used Behringer mixers. Mostly I used Mackies. I used to mix for bands back in the 90s. And, I started mixing in '83, learning. But I mixed for bands for about 12 years throughout the 90s. And, that era. And anyway, you should be able to, there's, channel 1, channel 2, which are mic channels with a gain and everything. And then there's 3 and 4, 5 and 6, which are stereo channels. And you should be able to, what this is just RCAs coming from my cassette deck over there. You should be able to put them, right and left, like that. But when you do that, as soon as you plug into the right channel, it mutes it mutes or kills, if there's a malfunction, the left channel. And it says on the board, I read the manual, went through the manual, and it says to me in the manual that it would do what I expect it to do. And what the other older Mackies, not Mackies, they didn't really have stereo channels back in the 90s, but Behringer started coming out with them with the stereo channels. I guess there might have been some Mackies but the ones I used didn't have a stereo channel. So anyway, what I found out is, it says mono on the left, and then it says balanced or unbalanced right next to the right channel. And so what I'm thinking is maybe it's the way it's designed, that you either put mono in the left or a stereo in the right. So I'm going to put a stereo in the right. And I knew I had this cable coming, so that's why I just stopped with my tests the other day and decided to wait until this got here, because I knew it would be here real soon. So I've already learned if I route it by my keyboard, then I tend to shove that in, get it out of my way, and then guess what? There goes the cable yanking all over the place. Okay, so I didn't preset my levels or anything this time, but that'll be okay, I guess. Now, I think I will go to one in desktop so you can kind of see what I'm doing, but also what I want to show is the levels and what's going on with that. Okay, so I'm going to open up the advanced audio properties here in OBS, and I'm going to turn on the monitor of mic aux. That's what I'm talking on right here. There we go, I can hear me. And I don't want it too loud, but I want it loud enough that I can hear the music. Now, I want to repeat that same song. I could use a different song, but I really didn't pre-listen to them. I know some of them didn't sound good because the compressor wants to chop off the really quiet noises that I have on it. See, it's running through the Behringer 802 mixer, Xenix 802, into the Vamp tube, Behringer again, then into my computer and through OBS Studio. And I considered that maybe some of that had to do with, my daisy chain and even the software, but I don't, like maybe there's because the panning doesn't work right either. If you pan to the left, it goes down to nearly nothing. If you pan to the right, it gets a little bit louder, or the same, or a little bit louder than when it's in the center. And that doesn't matter if you're in, like when I had it on channels, well, let's see, right would be, I guess, 4 and 6, channels 4 and 6. And then 3 and 4 would be left, I think. But anyway, I want to get it playing, and then make sure I hit the repeat mode right, the way it should be. Well, I don't want it to go to the next song. Okay. I think I'll have to get up there and look. Yeah, very tiny. Okay. Now I'm going to bring up that channel a little bit. Oh, I need to turn off the desktop audio, mute it, or else it will echo really bad. Yeah, I see it playing alongside the... You were probably hearing that. Okay. Why did you hear that, though? Maybe that was just me talking. Check. Check 1, 2. I think that's about right. Last time I had the music a bit loud for the mic. But I was trying to make sure it opened up the noise gate. I said compressor, I meant noise gate. Okay, now I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to whittle the wires and see if they make any noise. I think the only noise it's making is when I bang into the mic stand. These are so long I can route it behind the keyboard. Slide it in. Yeah, see if I bang the cable around, it doesn't make noise. I was tapping the mic stand with the cable. Okay. Now, let's see if it pans. Doesn't work. Same thing, pan to the left. Go pan to the left, it gets down to nearly nothing. Pan to the right, it gets loud. Let me try putting it in the first, the one that says mono, the left. Check. Same thing, goes down to nothing. Teach me for you, my God, my Savior, and all my hope is in you. According to your love, remember me, for you are good, oh Lord. I'll pause it now. Well, the cable's good, and that's the main part of this test. Now I think I will go and... well, let's see. Let's leave it on this cable. Where are those other ones? They're right behind. Okay, I see them. Now what I'm going to do is use a female barrel. Sometimes they call them barrel connectors, female to female. 3.5 millimeter, 1/8 inch. And if I can reach those. Okay, now here's the 3 that I bought, that I got yesterday, day before, whenever. I'll just grab one. They're all good. I tested them. Now, you may have a little echo because it's coming back through my speakers. Turn it down a little bit. I needed to hear it well enough to tell if, you know, I was having crackling in the cable. And it's odd, but... Well, they don't smell good up close, but like when they're about that far away, they actually smell good. It's definitely a cable smell that I'm not used to. Okay, so I got it hooked up. Smell another cable again. Okay, so I've got it hooked up with that connector there. Now I can patch it into the board. I don't like... don't... Okay, now I have some well, as much trouble with allergies as I've had, I should have known better than to sniff of that. I have some. Actually, I was checked through all my. I had 6 of these RCA female to quarter-inch adapters that is right here that I'd been using from different times. One set is taller than the other, and I kept testing around, and I figured out that one of the taller ones is actually had an intermittent connection that would make static and just quit working when you'd wiggle it. So I took it out of the mix. I'm gonna get I usually don't throw stuff like that away. I usually save things. Well, if I think I could fix it, I'll save it to fix it. Sometimes, so like if you had an RCA, of course these are such small wires, can't hardly solder them or anything, but the actual wires inside of there, you think that's small, but if I'm having a good day where my hands are steady and I can see with the magnifying glass or something, one end, say like one end's good and when other end's bad, I can cut them. You can cut them off and use them for projects and stuff. So anyway, what I ended up doing by the time it was all said and done was I plugged them into you could plug them into the left or the right. It works equally as well, and just use 2 channels since I'm not needing, if I needed it, it would be awfully good though to have like one for my tape deck and one for one of the phones. Really, I need to get an adapter, but they're not working in stereo, I don't think. The thing is I mixed down some cassettes, or I digitized some cassettes a few months ago, and it worked perfectly. I had stereo, so it could be something else. Maybe I'm not getting what I expect when I turn the pan because something in the Behringer Vamp that's causing that. Oh yeah, I meant to listen. Before I do this, I'm going to plug that back in like it was and listen on the headset and see if I'm getting. I think when I listened, I did do that last time, and I thought, now that I think about it, I thought I was getting stereo panning in the mixer. Lay that aside for a minute. Get this back out. I forgot half of what I wanted to test. Okay, let's go back on this. Where from my understanding, if there is a difference, then you'd want to put it in the right one to get your stereo panning. Get my headset out. Oh, I'm gonna have another one of those adapters to plug it in. Using 2 of them. Let's see, I've got more. I have to go get my bag of stuff out from behind me over there. Okay, yeah, I've got plenty of adapters. I've saved them up over the years. So I need another. Some of them are kind of contrary. Let's see, get the headset out and see. Usually I use that gold-plated one on the headset. Just leave it on there all the time. Yeah, that's one that doesn't want to plug in very good. So, these things are not that close in tolerance. These 1/8 inch are actually 1/8 inch. That's bigger than 3.5 millimeters. So that's one thing. And this could actually be an 1/8 inch because it's, I bought these back in the 90s. These are HP40 Akai flat response headphones that are for recording and mixing and stuff. They don't change the signal. They don't make it more bass, less bass, more high. It's just flat. It's supposed to be whatever the frequencies fed to them, that's what you're going to hear. They're for mixing. And back in the 90s, they were $50, which was like, I think, the second from the bottom at Guitar Center in price range. But that was pretty expensive back then for a set of headphones. Let's see if the one I have one out here. Let's just see if it'll work okay on the new cable. If it will, I won't have to dig and dig. Yep, like I thought. This one fits really good on here. And it looks better, see? Makes your headphones look important. Okay. Yeah. Let me see about getting that going again. Take these off so that I can set that volume again. Let's see. Oh yeah, I thought, well, it's not going. Well, yes, it's going. You're just not. Check. There. Check. Wait for the song to start again. Should be repeating. Yeah, the pan makes it go away. Let me check that. Make sure it's not my CD player. Make sure it's not my CD player. Not my CD player. Nearly blew my head off on both sides. So unless it's something to do with the cables. I do remember when I was using those other ones that I seem to be getting. Now I'm wondering if I have a bad adapter or something. Or a bad cable. I need a way to hook it up without the adapter. Could be I've left a bad adapter in the bag. I think I see it. There's no one. Feels better. This feels made better than other one. Might that one. Okay. I'll pull this stuff back in the bag. I can't really leave it here. It'll all be set up my keyboard tray. There's a nice one. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think how I should do it. Well, let's just test all of these first. They all seem to work on the right side. Oh, that one's really loose. Waiting for it to start over again. Always the same thing. Could be that one up there. left, which is supposedly mono according to the markings on the board. But when, oh, okay. It did in the headphones, but listening back through the system, it doesn't do the same thing. Okay, so it could have to do, surely the OBS Studio doesn't just monitor. If it did monitor in mono, then you would think it would be, well, it may to the software that could be the left that's playing all the time. The mono was supposed to, by the design, it's the official left channel is the official mono channel. That's the way anything made properly is made. But when you get into going through, you know, hardware with software, and then into another computer that's hardware with software, well, what have you ended up with? It's just too complicated of a setup, really, to figure it all out, I think. Okay, I was thinking of, let me pause or stop this again. I'm going to go back to the, I'm just going to get this new cable out and go back to the, one of the old other cables and see if I missed something in my tests before. I was trying to find one that wasn't loose enough to, like, it felt like it was going to fall out across that distance. Okay. I'm going to do it like like it should work, and let's see what happens again. This time I'll listen on the headphones, too. Same thing. Goes down on the left. Now, whenever he starts again, I'll do the headset. Okay, I have both sides, like I should. Ah, pans left. Pans right. Pans left. Similar. Okay, the channels work like they should. It's got something to do with either the software on the computer or the Behringer. I'm going to pop these in the, I was really worried about my mixer. Oddly, well, like I said before, I had both channels when I did my dubbing, you know, my digitizing, and I had no remember not the sins of my youth, rebellious ways, according to your okay, so I don't know why the, I mean, according to the manual, you can do, it said you could do stereo. Maybe they really meant balanced or unbalanced, but it said stereo. So I thought, okay. And it said, well, it says it on the board. No, on the board it says balanced or unbalanced. It has left, balanced, or unbalanced, right, which is what a mixer should have. But in the manual it said stereo, but I think maybe they don't write manuals like they used to, so I think maybe that was they're trying to use commonly known technology words, I think, and they're not the same thing. Balanced TRS is not the same signal, not the same wiring, which was even in the manual. Something I saw that I'd forgotten or surprised me. Didn't seem right to me when I saw it. I won't even go back towards that, but on TRS, TRS balance. We just always said TRS when we meant either balanced or TRS, and that meant a balanced cable, because in pro sound, that's what you were talking about. It's one of those things, how people are wanting to correct each other, to show how smart they are. And someone would say stereo cable, they'd say, "You mean balanced?" Well, actually, that's how I was taught. And at first I was like, what's the same thing? What's the difference? But I did learn the difference. Stereo has got a right and a left and a ground. Balanced has got, I saw the diagram in the manual, and I think that is right. I'd forgotten, but it has a ground, a hot, and a cold. And they're not anywhere near the same. Although you can use a TRS cable, they're actually not even the exact same dimensions, but they didn't used to be when they were closer in tolerance. The distances on the tip, ring, sleeve. See, there's the tip, the ring, and then the sleeve, the long one. Back in the early, back when, like in the early '90s, especially, if you had a, TRS cable for professional audio, and you try to use it, say, as an extension for your headphones, you might have to not plug it in all the way to get it to make the right connection, because it was, or the other way. Not. So you can cheat. There's a trick. I was trying that. Even you can go. Actually, on a mixer, that's okay. For instance, if you have a TRS cable and you want to, or a stereo cable, maybe it was the stereo cables that are wired stereo. If you want to use it in a mixer that accepts either balanced or unbalanced, you could plug it in about halfway to the first click. You can feel it real easily, and it would work. And sometimes that's all we had. That's what we'd use, and just make sure some doofus doesn't walk up and say, "Oh, that's not in all the way," and shove it in for you, in the middle of your show. But or don't do it to yourself either. I never did that. But anyway, okay, so I'm actually really relieved to see that my board, both channels, those stereo channels, work as expected when I'm listening on the headphones. So it is got to be either in the Vamp or the, OBS Studio. So yeah, that's the next thing I could try is, I can't do that while I'm recording. But yeah, if I want to investigate it more, then I could try, I'm getting all over my cable. It's getting between this. That's why I don't like to leave that plugged in. For me to be able to access it, it needs to be in the worst place. With my chair arm has destroyed my nice addition I made for my desk years ago. And then just in the last 6 or 8 months, I put this red duct tape on it, thinking it might protect it a little more. And because it's metal on the arms of the chair, and it's round, but what happens is when I lean forward, it gets up above the edge right there, and then when I sit down, it grinds on it. It's just destroyed it. It was a beautiful, fancy routed edge. Real nice, a double bead route. The desk I didn't make, but this part from here down I did with 3 shelves out of white oak. And I always thought maybe one day I'd just remake the rest of the desk, but I never got around to that. But anyway, I forgot my story now. Okay. Oh, well, I could try, like, say, Audacity and see if it. That was what I was using to record the. Could very well be that OBS does something funky, like only monitoring in mono or something. I mean, I know it records in stereo though, but I think I should turn that off now. That monitor, I'm not using it. Let's see. Yeah, I had the sound muted too. So I guess I'll unmute the desktop. I'll be trying to use it and it won't be working. Yeah, I was using Audacity, the recording software, and it worked perfectly. So it might not be anything to do with the Behringer. It might be something about how. I remember I was reading up in the website or the manual online or whatever of OBS, and I saw several things about the way the audio worked. You're actually capable of. I don't remember how many tracks. A whole bunch. It's got six tracks. If you might have seen a minute ago. And the advanced audio properties are 6 tracks. Oh, come on. You did not do that. Dang it. That shows up when I do that too in the video, I think. That always highlights one. It always automatically defaults to highlighting one of those. And when they're highlighted, with the red lines all around it, if you touch it, you move it. You can lock them, I think. But anyway. I was just trying to figure out a safe way to do this. There, now. Yeah, there's 6 channels in there by default, and you can add tracks, and you can add more. Now, as far as the output, you'd have to. You can put it. You can basically, if I remember how they said it or how they do it. You can have 6 inputs. Well, you can have more outputs. You could do, for instance, for sure, I'm sure you could do 6 outputs, but then you have to encode it into a kind of file that can handle extra audio tracks. And then of course, you're like, say, if YouTube, I don't think YouTube handles anything but stereo. Only certain, video sites handle multi-track audio. Or you can do what's going on here with me is, and I have all of them checked on all these things, all tracks checked just to make sure I don't miss one, because it's automatically, the way it's set by default, I left it that way. It's automatically mixing it all down to stereo, no matter how many tracks you give it. Just realized I should check my string. They all mix down to stereo, so. If any one of them did accidentally, for some crazy reason, get routed through the software to one of those other tracks, then it would still be good. Or if I played, say, well, I wouldn't be because of the copyrights, but unless it was my own, well, I don't have any, 5.1 track audio that I made. But if you were playing something like that off of a CD or DVDs, then it would all get automatically mixed down to stereo. If you're playing it in your computer, over the desktop audio. Okay, so these work like they should, and so yeah, now I can stop worrying about my tape inputs. Like this one, I can put it back in there, and it should be fine. This is actually from the cassette deck. I don't have one routed over from the CD because I didn't really see a reason for it. But actually, the thing I've been there's one thing I want to do. The number one thing I want to do, whether I use a mic channel or one of these channels, whatever works best is what I would do. See, these have 2, so that might be what you'd want. Well, no. Anyway, my lapel. I should have went in and bought that adapter. I found an adapter. The lapels are TRRS tip ring sleeve for your phones. to plug into your phones, the ones I bought. And that's great because I probably almost going to plan on doing it again. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with my lapels. It was just the USB acting up the other day. But you plug them straight into the phones and then stream it over the Wi-Fi to OBS Studio. That way I have a wireless mic, and I don't have cables to wrap up in the wheels on my chair and all that stuff. But another option, if I had the right adapter to go from, I have adapters that'll let you plug it into the computer. That's what I've been doing. But that still does not work on my mixer, even with all the other adapters. Every combination I've tried it 2 or 3 times. It's been a couple of hours, each time, trying to see, okay, surely if I just would think, I'd find a way to do it, But you can buy one for $4 and $5, I found, that is made for that. And it'll split the TRRS to a female 3.5 millimeter mic connector, and then an earphone connector. So if of course, if you plug that, going to my mixer, then, gosh, I can't hardly think it through. I plug where's my lapel? It's up in the bag. Okay, the lapel's a male output, so you plug it into the female input, and then let's see. I think I might have to use one of these barrel adapters. Now I can't remember. I guess I should go look at what I was looking at instead of going in circles. I don't know if that's even important to my conversation with myself here or not. But yeah, that works. So that worked. I'm sure I tested the other cables. They're good. So that's what I had there is 3.5 millimeter to, and I messed around with them until I found one that was tight enough that it didn't fall out on me. It clips pretty good. 2/4 inch, and then RCA's to 1/4 inch. These are these are male RCA and the female on that end, and then 1/4 inch male on this end. And that's how I got to the mixer. I think I'll leave that like it is for right now. That way it's ready to go. But to go from the phones, you need the adapter I was sitting there trying to explain and couldn't really do. But I do have it saved on my Amazon page, and I just remembered, and I think I still have it open, Amazon, so I think I might show it. Okay, now as far as why that, I don't think the board does what the impression that I got it was saying in the manual. It said stereo, but I think what it really meant was balanced, because that's the way it's behaving. So I could have two. I would have to have 2 of these cables that were, actually you'd want 2 actual 1/4 inch cables to do it right. But you can balance 2 balanced cables coming from whatever source. I'm going to put me a twisty on this right quick before it goes off into the world again. I just got through saving. Those are really long, I think, but I'm just going to grab one for right now. And I like to size my twisties up as to what's appropriate for the cable. Well, if you got a big cable that needs a long twisty, you don't want to waste it on a little thin one. But for right now, I just don't want to have it going all over the place. I'll leave my twisties out. I know I won't be satisfied with that. Okay, so I think I'll put this other. I never quite know where to keep the adapters. I've kept them. I've had that. It's one of those double fold open boxes. It's a small version of what we used to use a lot. We couldn't afford a bunch of road cases, so we bought those. They're heavy duty. Those plastic boxes with double opening doors. So anyway, I found that small one, and I kept my little personal emergency kit, I called it, for cables that I wanted to have with me at all times, just a little bit of this and a little bit of that in case something went horribly wrong and we're in trouble. But yeah, here's my order, and that's 12. That's basically it's 12 of those protein bars for $13.66, which is about as cheap as I've found them. That'd be 2 boxes. If normally they come in boxes of 6, and then those things, those Comtrex, if you've never heard of it, I was thinking about it earlier. Everybody's heard of Tylenol, but I remember when I was a kid, I don't remember if I was in the 60s when I was a kid or in the 70s when I was a teenager or young adult, when Tylenol came out. It was brand new on the market. Comtrex, I remember my grandparents having that in their cabinet, when I as far back as I can remember. And so here's the cable I got. And hopefully everything's fine with it. I think it is. It had a good signal, and the reason not panning. I think the reason it didn't, nothing was on the left is because this board's not designed that way. It works just fine. It just, so I have it plugged into a stereo output, and that's sending the stereo signal down the cable. But where I plugged it in was really looking for TRS or a balanced signal. It wasn't looking for a stereo signal like I thought. So that's why when I panned to the left, I got nothing. I panned to the right, and I got everything, And they also have, I think I said earlier that, I do really like the Tripp Lite power strips and, electronics protectors. And they actually have a lifetime warranty. That's the other reason I thought, well, heck, $5 cable. Yeah, obviously I paid $4.56 and it's already gone up to $5.51. So I got it at the right time, just a few days ago. But they have all different lengths. I don't know why you would. I don't see how you could use a 50-foot one of these and have it not be an antenna for a radio station. I was saying that of all the things that are crappy these days, one thing, these cheap RCAs especially, a 10-foot RCA would pick up a radio station left and right back in the 90s. One that wasn't all that cheap. The ones I was having trouble with was anything over 10 foot. I mean, we had several 10-foots, but we had some that were like 15 and or more foot. Seemed convenient until you hooked them up, and then you're picking up random radio stations in your signal, But and I guess that had a lot to do with electronics back in the day too. Probably didn't have a lot of interference built in, RF interference blocking. But yeah, that's a good picture of what that cable looks like right there. What the ends look like. Actually, no, it's not. That is nothing what they look like. These are not molded like that. They're hard plastic, and they look like they would screw on. Huh. That happens oh, no, they are molded. So, no, they're not going to screw on and off. But they don't have the ribs and all that stuff. They're fine. Just that I can feel that they're that hard plastic, and I kind of showed them a while ago. I don't have my endoscope plugged in. But anyway, yeah, they're not like that. That's why I was surprised, because of the picture. A lot of these say, they'll say disclaimers about the pictures, but I don't know. As long as it works and doesn't break too fast, if it lasts with a cheap cable like that, if it'll last a few years, it'd be great. You're not going to get any better than that. I'm going to say you can't expect it, but you should be able to. But anyway, they have the lifetime warranty, and this company, I've used their products for, I don't know. I think I remember from back in the early 90s, maybe the first time I ever saw any of their products. So I'm not worried about them And then there's the RCAs that I was testing on there a while ago. The one that I finally figured out does do left and right, and yeah, it's still $4.45. So, and they have the lifetime warranty and everything too, somewhere on here. With the cable that adapter, I may be wishing I bought it the other day because they may have, you know, this stuff goes up and down fast. And I ordered one of these. Which one? I ordered that one, I think. Yeah, I think I ordered the cheaper one, and it's going to take a while. Well, it's in my. I was just looking at it. Yeah, right there. It's the 264. It's not due until April 4th to the 25th. But I'm not in a need of that. I'm going to try putting a. You can put use an older ATX power supply with a newer motherboard with that. And I thought there ought to be a way to do that if you just knew the pin out. So they had good reviews, both of these. This one's about twice the price, but I think you might get it quicker. They look the same. I mean, the colors might be a little different, but as long as they're wired right, that's what matters. So anyway. I have one motherboard and setup that was in a machine that was new enough, you know, the power supply fitted, but the power supply was only like 250 watts, I think. But the power supply is about to die in it, and I have several older machines that, you know, like say 1.6 gigahertz Celerons, you know, single cores, and this is a dual core AMD processor, 2 gigahertz, you know. Got memory and a board and everything for it. So, but the power supplies, you can't get a good power supply, you know, a decent sized power supply for less than $50. So, if I'm going to buy one, I'm not going to buy a 350 watt. I'm going to buy at least a 500 watt, you know, because then it can be used with more than one machine. But so I thought, well, you know, if I could convert those, I just bought one to see if it would work. Now I have two AMD setups that. Both dual cores and everything. Now that I bought all this stuff to upgrade Mom's PC, basically her old system was a 2 or 2.4 gigahertz or something with 2 gig of RAM. I have all that, including the CPU heatsink and all that stuff, because I had to get a better one for that 8-core. And since I had decided that motherboard, that ASRock wasn't going to handle, it wasn't working right with that. It works but not right. I got that Zeus motherboard that I'm looking at the box of, and so I thought, well, if that one that's a lower power draw, hers had a 450 watt power supply, which actually went out, and I bought a 650 watt so that I knew I could put an 8-core in it. So that's still going to stay in her box. So I'm off telling about what I'm planning on doing now. Let's see, what's this? That is just a. I actually know why I put that in there. TRS to 2. That's just a splitter. I think. No, that might be the one. Let's see. Headphone mic. Yeah. Okay. Now what's this one? Y splitter 2 packs. What? 2 packs? Is that 2 of them? Earphone headset extension cord for iPhone. Oh, I think it's just to split your earphones. Yeah. So this is the one that will actually do. And I try to, when I put them in my watch list here, I always try to remember to put the price in, because they'll tell you that the price went down when it actually has gone up and gone back down. They'll do it over and over and over. They don't actually track from when you put it in there. I don't know what they track from whatever makes it look good, I guess. I used to trust that until I found out. But here's a good picture of it. So it's a female input, so you can plug your TRRS lapel mic into that, and then it'll split it to a headphone. So I could, you can plug that in. You know, if you just wanted to go to a headset, then you could just use one of those barrel connectors, one of those TRS to TRS that I was showing a while ago, female to female. And then that one, of course, for the mixer, you'd have to still adapt it. You just have to bring it up to, this is a TRS, so you would just bring it up to the 1/4 inch TRS, which are stereo, but they are close enough in size, saying they're a little bit different in size. They're close enough in size to work. Like I said, years ago in the 90s, there was more difference in the size, and I guess they just kind of brought it all in together to where I really haven't noticed trouble in years, well, I guess I'm going to have to say about 20 years. To me, it doesn't seem 20 years ago since 2000. About 2001, I think, was the last time I mixed a show. And there's a diagram of how it all works. But this one, look, I believe, will get me from my TRRS lapel mics to a headset and to the mixer. To the mixer is what I'm mostly interested in. But if I wanted to listen in on it, I could listen in right there. Of course, it's not going to drive those big old headphones. You might drive earbuds. It's not going to even drive that from a microphone, though. What am I thinking? I don't think you would hear anything out of that with a mic plugged into it. See, this is just like, it's not for a mic necessarily. It's really, okay, so this is how they're showing. Well, they're showing you got your earphones plugged into the earphones, I guess, with a built-in mic plugged into the TRRS connector, and then you send that out to the computer, and the computer can gain the signal to make it work. But if you were going the opposite way, the way I was saying, from your mic into that female input, it should work, but if you're going through a mixer or something, but then trying to listen to your headset, it wouldn't. I don't think it'd even drive earbuds. It might. I don't think so though, because the output of lapel mics, they're condenser mics, and they're real sensitive, but they're still in the millivolt range. I was looking at the specs not long ago of some. They're not. I don't think they would drive one of those. They wouldn't drive those big headsets I was wearing a minute ago. Now, these, I believe, it does seem to show mic, and then the other one you can't see the deal on it. Yeah, there's one where you can see it. Oh, there's one. Well, this is what I was trying to show. Yeah, this is the same thing, mic and headset. Made a little different, but I think it's male on the other end. Yeah, that's the same thing, but it's male on the other end. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to come out of your phone and you want to split to a standard, well, you're trying to go in with the mic and out with the headset to a standard headset like mine, that would work. Yeah. And that could work. Yeah, to come out of now to hook up my phone, that's the thing. I got two different things I want to do. I'd like to hook up my phone to the mixer. This is the one I would need to hook up my phone to the mixer in order to play out of the, anything out of the phone. But you have so much. There's not much. I mean, my own music is either on. I actually don't have it on my. I gave away all my CDs that I had made up, so I have 2 albums, and that was just, like I said, the very first rendition of the first album. I don't even have the one I released and gave away. But once I started putting it all on the internet, I quit making CDs. I haven't made CDs in 15 plus years. I don't think I've made a CD of my music in at very least 15 years. So anyway, I keep thinking I ought to make some, so I'll have some. Like for things like this, when I just really want to do that. Yeah, okay, so if I want to play out of the phone into the mixer, this is what I need. Yeah, and the headphone is, well, the mic input could be useful, but it'd be a regular mic, and I could still use my lapels because they have all those adapters. I could make it still work, but and yeah, I could go into the phone and then out to the mixer all at the same time with that. Just depend. I'd still have to be doing adapting. I'd still have to go like 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch, which I can do. Rather not have a 10-foot cable for that, but I don't think. Well, I have a couple of shorter ones, but they're not very good quality. Well, one's just really old. I guess it's good quality. It's come with a speaker. It's with my Jensen computer speaker set that is from a compact 350 megahertz P3 we bought with it years ago. Well, in 1998, when Windows 98 came out, that's when we bought it. Machine doesn't run anymore. I think I finally figured out over the years. I thought it was the motherboard or something, and I think it was the power supply. Yeah, I did figure that out. I pulled it out to use it for something else, and it was no good. So all along it was the power supply. When your computer acts crazy and you can't figure out what's wrong with it, so it'll kind of work and not work. Check. Try another. Just get another good power supply and put it in there and see if all your problems go away. If you can't do that, then well, I don't know. There's no other easier way to find out. And this is the one that would be just perfect to plug in the your lapel mic without any adapter into it, and then you'll have your male outputs, which is perfect to go into the board. All I need to do is just go up from 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch. Well, for the I would be using the I'd be using the mic. Okay, mic in, mic out, and then the headphones. That would actually be going the other way. That wouldn't be of any use in that situation if you're plugging a mic into the other end. Now there's, you can adapters, as long as you know which way the signal's traveling and what the pin out is, you can use them backwards or forwards, So that's why you got to really think about it. Okay, let's see. So that was really interesting. And I was looking at this KVM cable for this is a whole nother story, but KVM cable for my server my HP server that I just bought, it's used. And thinking about using it because it's long enough it's 10 feet long. It's long enough to reach it over there where it is under my bed. And I've got the pins are I've got 2 pins broken out of the one that I was plugging into it, and of the VGA. But it's 1750. I've got to make sure it'll actually work on my KVM switch. I have a 4-port, and then I saw this 4-port KVM switch for $29 with 4 cables, and their cables are 4 feet long. And I think the one that I've been using, I don't know, it could be 5 feet long. I need to measure it. It'll just reach to where I had it sitting in the floor, but if I have to unhook it to slide. I've been sliding it under the bed, to get it out of my way. I was thinking I'd put it in a rack, but it can stick out so far I'm going to bang my legs on it getting it out of the bed. Anyway, and depending on how things turn out, I might actually get a good video card for that server. But then again, if everything's virtualized, I may not need a video card. So I'm not buying stuff unless I'm sure I need it. And I think I just put that in there because I thought it was an interesting lapel mic. Don't remember why. Oh, it has 5 stars, but it's only got 3 reviews. But I think I think the features of it looked and sounded good. But I've been paying I paid $10 for my first one, and I thought the cable was going bad, but it could have been the USB acting up. Well, no, it wasn't the USB, the phone. Sometimes I do have trouble with losing my lapel, my signals, something stops working, the app or something. When I'm doing it through my phone, my lapel's through my phone. And then, I have to, but I had decided I thought the cable was going bad, and it's too little to really work on. And to get it, if it's bad, I thought it was bad up towards the mic head, so I was afraid that I would, well, actually, I took it apart once. I'm going to look and see if I can find things that I bought. There's my mixer. I didn't actually buy it. It's gone up $6. I paid $59.99, but I bought it at Guitar Center because I didn't have to pay any tax, and I was going to have to pay tax on Amazon. But what I was looking for is, the first lapel. This one here. It was a good little lapel. It didn't have the best sound in the world, but it was surprisingly good for $10. Now they still have them, but they're $17.95. I wouldn't pay that for any of these lapels, really. I don't think that one that was $25. I'm not sure why I even put it in my. Now that I think about it, but see, it has all. The thing you got to pay attention to is, does it have enough adapters to work for you? Because phones are all pin out, and the phones are all different. So this one came with not only this one here. Does it show the other one? There's another one that's a metal one that's very long. It doesn't show it. I don't think there it is, right there. that's the one that makes it work from in my phone. So I have to plug this into right here, and this one is actually good for like going to the computer. Is what that's good for. So, but for the work on my phone, I have to my Alcatel A845L phones. I have to do that. But I think it may either the cable may be breaking like here or over here, and either end is going to be really hard to work on. Now I had something go wrong, and I took the head apart, and wasn't anything actually. I don't know something, or I thought something was wrong. Anyway, I took it apart and put it back together without destroying it. It unscrewed it. And now I can't even remember what it was, but it worked for a long time. I've had it since 2017. See, it's 2 years old now. It still works, but sometimes it starts cutting in and out, making noise sometimes. So that's why I thought it was probably the cable. Now, where's the other one that I bought? Maybe I didn't write on there bought it, but that's just since I made a note in those notes. Bought, see, it says bought these. That was just how I, of course I can go to my orders, but that's probably the way to find it. Let's see. Now here's the one that my recent one that I got. It's a mono. It's not a stereo input, and it has that kind of adapter on it as well. So I knew when I saw those adapters, I knew that it would work with my phones. Some phones won't need that. But see, there's a picture of what the capsules look like. They're all similar, but it's two mics that are wired together down at the other end. See, there's a picture somewhere. Well, down there at the kind of see on the box picture. They're wired together down there, but they sound better than the original one, and I don't think I paid that much for it. What did I pay? I paid $14.99, so I paid $15 for that, but it was a dual mic kit, so and it sounds better, and you can take one off, and what I do is like when I'm trying to show the sounds that the computer's making when they're making noise and stuff or anything like that. Yeah, there's a picture of the adapter, and that's still that same long silver adapter, typical, just like the one on my other one. So I have to plug those together for my phone. And actually, did I try it on my phone ever? I think I did. But and then that other one, the little short cable, I believe is the one that I use to go to the computer. That's what I've been using. Well, actually, the one I have doesn't actually look like that. It's different, but it does work on the computer. I just remembered because it's down there. I've got it hooked, kind of wired to my rack so that I won't be able to yank it out of the computer. My computer rack. So anyway, it was real good. It sounded better than the other one. From the first day on, but now it's cutting in and out, and I'm still not sure if it's the trouble with the USB, like it's losing, it's something's going wrong with the USB, losing connection to the USB sound card that I'm using to get into the computer, because I can't use the mic input at the same time as the line input of the sound card, the built-in onboard sound card of the computer doesn't work. But and yeah, I bought one of those from my mom. I don't think she's ever used it. There's her processor, and so I can. It's the motherboard I keep talking about that I just bought, and it's had good ratings. And see, it has to be the they're not. What am I trying to say? I don't think they're in production anymore, any of this stuff, because this is the FX series. See, I think that's an FX processor. Yeah, FX 8-core AMD 8300. Works fine in the AS Rock motherboard, except two important things. The onboard Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet doesn't work. I think this is where I bought. Yeah, there's the AS Rock. It's no longer available. I bought it in 2013 when I thought that her motherboard had gone bad, and it turned out it was the switch. But I like the motherboard. It'll either run anything from a dual core to an 8 core, but it has to be. Well, this is not in the supported list, and I knew that when I got it. But it'll run. It has onboard video, but it has a video. I have a video card for it, and so with the video card, it has HDMI and VGA on it, and got that because her monitor that I got her had HDMI and VGA on it. And nowadays, and that was before, you know, all these this before flat screen TVs was the thing, you know, with the HDMI inputs and everything. So it actually will work, you know, with the modern stuff. But anyway, the onboard Ethernet does work fine with Fedora 26. I know that with the dual core and the DDR2 memory, but with the AMD 8300 and the DDR3 memory, which I don't think the memory's got anything to do with it, the onboard Ethernet doesn't work, and neither does the VGA, the onboard VGA. I didn't even realize that until I just tried it, not recently for some reason. I forgot why. But I guess it was when I had the fan go out on her video card and mine within a couple of months of each other. And so I had bought us 3 fans. I bought a little set of 3 fans and fixed hers. And then I thought, because you can always use fans, and they were the cheapest way to get them. And then mine went out. So on my Red Black Biostar, so I put one in there, and I ran that as my server for a couple of months, and then that fan wore out. So those fans were crap. Hers, of course, hasn't even been running. I don't know. I hope it doesn't go out. She doesn't use her computer, but maybe once a week usually. But here's the fans that are crap. They look they look identical to fans that cost $5 each. So I just couldn't see paint. And I'm sure the other ones aren't. Maybe, you know, if you find one from a different, you can't tell what manufacturer they come from or anything. So if they look exactly the same, they probably come from the same factory. You know, that's what I figure. But yeah, they're still $2.13. I think that's less than what I paid for them. Now I'm wondering. $287. Yeah. But I mean, if you can't run, if they normally you wouldn't run it, you know, a machine 24/7. But I did for a month or 2, maybe 2. But it shouldn't go out in just 2 months. If you ran it for a year and it went out, well, I wouldn't be surprised. And this is a fan that I really like. It's the one I bought for her 8300 processor. I'm just doing reviews on products, it seems. Well, this is better than trying to write them out and them saying, oh, you can't write that on Amazon. I've tried twice to write reviews on things, and I gave up both times. I got so aggravated with their system saying we don't accept that. But this is real quiet, moves a lot of air. And they have good reviews. See, they got pretty good. I think it was higher than 67% when I bought it. You know, overall 5 stars. But it's quiet and it moves a lot of air. I really like that fan. And that's for the AMD processors. Fits the 8300 battery that I bought for the Dell 6000 laptop. It hasn't given any troubles. It's been in there since we bought it. 2017. These. We have, now these are the 2 that I bought. I'm on the 3rd one. I hate to go into it. 2014, we bought one because it's cheaper to buy the whole thing, and I just don't replace. I put the original one we got like at Home Depot, you know, black, probably 20 years ago. It ran just fine until 2016. It went out, and so I decided to buy the, back at that time anyway, the fans, what went out was, what was out in it? I think at the time it was the exhaust fan. The heater fan and the exhaust fans keep going out in these things. And they're loud too, by the way. They always were loud, but they are loud. Don't let anybody tell you that they're not loud. They make good heat, and they do good at exhausting when they work. But it was cheaper to buy them. Did I pay $79, $80? I don't think I paid that much for it. It's cheaper to buy them, and then just they're just plug and play, literally. That couple screws and plug them in with an AC plug inside of there. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. They're really easy to replace the parts. So once you get the box in the ceiling, and I did that with some help of a neighbor years ago. We did that, and I had never cut through a roof, and I was worried about cutting through the vents through the roof. I wanted them to go through the roof. I didn't want all that moisture piped into the attic and causing trouble in our attic, causing the sheetrock to mold or something. So I went ductwork all the way up to the roof, and anyway, and he's an air conditioning man, plus all around kind of well, he has licenses for AC and electrical and everything, so I knew he knew what he was doing. I've known him for years, so anyway, he's worked on our AC for many years, but and no, we didn't have never had a leak with the roof jacks, leaking or anything. I knew how to make roof jacks. I had learned that back in the 80s or late 80s. I worked for an air conditioning guy for a little while, and I learned he had a sheet metal shop for making roof jacks and stuff, and he taught me how to do that once. And I made my own. I had a mobile home back then, and I made my own. It's kind of cool. But roof jacks are the vents you see up on the roof. So what was I going to say? Okay, so it lasted. The fan, let's see which fan went out. I don't remember. One of the fans went out 2 years later, 2016, just about the time it was out of warranty. I want to see how much I paid for that. 79, 63, yeah. Oh, those things are good. Still working great. Got two of those. Those little recharge. You plug them in, and then they get recharged off the AC. And when the lights get low, dim enough, they don't have to be out, just dim enough, they come on. They're perfect night lights. And then if the power goes out, they'll come on. So if the power goes out, you can set them how you want them. Anyway, you can pull them off the wall and use them as a flashlight too if you need to. Pretty cool. But and they haven't, they still work great. Now then I got, let's see, same thing in 2016, and that one, the heater fan went out and quit working in it a year later, and I still haven't fixed it yet. Maybe it was longer than that, because surely it has been 2 years. It's 2019 now. I think it's been about a year since it quit working. So I don't use the heater in the bathroom, but everybody else has been dragging we leave a, space heater in there. Yeah, 63 space heater in there for when they want to use. I just turn on the shower, and that heats me up too much as it is. But the thing is, once you've done all that work of installing those things, I looked and looked. There's no other brands that'll fit inside that box unless maybe you did some serious modifications. And to do that, you're going to need to get the thing down from there. So, and they're mounted from the top. That's how we did it. I mean, I guess you could do it from the bottom, but God, it would kill you. I got up in the attic and did it, which it was killer. I nearly passed out up there because it was hot. It was hot in the summer, and I wasn't used to that kind of work anymore. And but anyway, yeah, see those these right here? Those have to be stretched out. They're sliders, and you nail them to the studs. And there's some down the other end too. So yeah, you couldn't do it without being in the attic. I can't see. I've seen people talk about doing it. Maybe some other design you might be, but that one there, you need to be in the attic to do it. And it was a heck of a lot easier than trying to. Well, there you go. There's a picture of what they look like. It's not a big deal. It's just hard working in the heat in the attic, and then of course the dust that makes you sick and everything. But those slide out, kind of like drawer slides, and then you nail them to the rafters, and then cut and mark. Of course, you got to cut and mark your hole. You have the cover off so that it's mark your hole. And best thing to do is get up in the attic, mark it. Now I'm talking about installation. Get up in the attic, have the cover off. You just take the box, leave the cover down in the bathroom, in the house or in the bathroom, whatever. Set it down where you're going to need to have it. Maybe even make a small hole through there to, with a nail or something that can easily patched. You want to have it look good in the room, is what I'm trying to say. But it has to fit between the rafters, too, to be able to nail it in. I mean, you may have to scab on some extra wood to your rafters if they're too far apart or something. Those things are only so wide. Can't remember if I might have had to do that. But, and then just set it down on the sheetrock, mark it, and then, mark it or not mark it, but drive you nails in each corner. One simple way to do it is drive nails in each corner. Well, actually, you don't want to go downstairs and then saw up over your head and have all that stuff hitting you in the face. So just make sure you know where it's going to be in the room, that it's not going to look ridiculous, that it's going to be in the right room. What you can do, it's been so long since we did it, and since I've done things like that, what you would do is get you a nail, or I actually have a special tool that's a handle and a piece of, I think it's copper, but it's small in diameter, and you can just shove it right through sheetrock as a finder, instead of a nail, because nails are bigger and they drag. You usually have to use a hammer to knock it through, and then you can end up just doing more damage. But this little tool I have, which now I'm thinking, where is that thing? Get in the center of where you think you want this thing to be, poke it through, then go up into the attic, find that thing, and then work from there. Measure out, And so then you'll know, if you put that in the center of where you want that, you're not going to be more than 2 to 4 inches out from where you figured it was going to be. You can't put it exactly where you want it, because you have to have those mounting brackets line up. But ours looked great. However I did it, I figured it out. Anyway, then you do the rest from up in the attic. You center your box over that, your nail or your tool, like I said. Center your box over that. Make sure it's going to hit the rafters, the mounting brackets, and then draw around it with a pencil or something, and then drill some holes, or just use your sheetrock saw. Just don't make a mess out of it, because you don't have more than about a ½ inch of space around outside on the right and left side of that box. You got about a ½ inch. You might have a little more on the ends to make a mistake. And then just use your sheetrock saw to saw it out. Hand saw, I'm talking about. I mean, if you've got fancy routers to do that with, good on you. I'd love. I've got routers, but regular routers, but I wouldn't drag them up in there for that. But anyway, because they're going to blow all that, not only all the sheetrock, but all the old 80-year-old insulation in the attic up in your face, But you're going to breathe that stuff that that kills you. Yeah, it does kill people. I know 2 people that died from working in attics. But so you should probably wear a mask, even though when you're hyperventilating from not enough air, you might have to take it off. I can't wear them in heat. You got to wear safety glasses, right? I have to wear glasses to see. So they seam up when you got a mask on. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Okay, I'm gone goofy with looking at going over stuff. At least I could have stayed on subject. I ordered those and they never came. Got my money. YouTube finally YouTube. Amazon gave me my money back, but I thought, well, maybe I can get them from somebody else. But they're really cool in concept. They take from the regular size USB, you plug it in there, and then it brings it down to the micro. Any cable. Just fit. There you go. It fits right inside of there. When I bought them, they were like $2, and I kept saying, well, when they go down, I'll order them. But they never did go down. All these years. Let's see if it says $1.99, but they never came. And I kept waiting because I really wanted them. I thought, well, I know China's slow. I knew they were coming from China. Finally, Amazon refunded me. So I said, well, that's good. I didn't even have to deal with it. So I won't go on and on about every little thing I bought. Continue to, but for the last 10 years. I was just trying to stay on the subject, but I don't think I did anymore. Okay, cables, well, audio, yeah. I was thinking to myself, I thought about testing Audacity. Well, I'm pretty sure I can't do that, although I can talk on Skype while I'm using OBS Studio. For some reason that works, but I didn't figure I'd be able to open up Audacity. I think it'll fight for the sound card, Yeah, those are those that I just bought. That. Oh, okay, I know what that is. That's been working great. That's we got for the TV. It is not white. This is completely, currently unavailable. It's not the right product or anything. That's the wrong picture for it. But I know what it is by the title, what it was. It's PDIF Toslink Coax Digital to Analog Decoder Converter in Dolby. It had to be Dolby for our TV. And let's see what I paid for it. $39.99. It was not cheap, but it ended up being worth it. I got a real good deal on originally around $500. I mean, they said it was originally $500 MSRP, I guess. Soundbar, but it is very well made and it will rock the house. It's only 5-inch speakers in it, but it's one of those stereo soundbars. It's a big and heavy one. Anyway, but it wouldn't work with the TV without that converter. But once in a while you got to reboot it, unplug it, and plug it back in. But and you just plug it into the USB on the TV for power. And then here's the 2 sound cards that I was talking about that I think maybe is not that they're, well, I don't guess they don't seem to be acting up. Actually, when I had trouble the other day, I had this plugged in, one of these plugged in, and my endoscope USB endoscope camera plugged in, and I decided to unplug the endoscope so I could plug in a second one of these and try to use it at the same time. That's when everything went wonky, and I started, even after it didn't work out, and then I unplugged the second one of these, and then my sound kept coming and going, but I wasn't realizing it until later, So close the browser, so I won't do that anymore. Okay, so that's moving a bit slow. I may have my machine working too hard. Well, I did have the browser open. Everything looks normal there. My stream seems okay. Okay, so oh, no wonder I'm tired. It's almost 6 in the morning. Been up since about 4:30 yesterday afternoon. I got my schedule off again. So yeah, it's time to be tired. Well, I'm happy to say that new cable works. It was a little worried there for a minute. But I was expecting it to do something that I can see by the way the board's labeled. It's labeled like all these Behringers or Mackeys have been labeled always, ever since I've been doing it. It's not. I don't know. Maybe I just misunderstood the manual. I think I poured over it though. I think they just don't write it. They don't write it right. They don't explain it. Like I said, they jump back and forth between using terminology of stereo and TRS, and when it doesn't apply correctly. And so they said, I guess instead of just I thought about getting that out a minute ago, but I didn't want to really, I think. Let's get it out so that I'm not just trying to remember. Only got one file in that Behringer folder, and that's that manual. I was able to find it pretty easy yesterday, so maybe I'll be able to find it, or the other day, I guess now. I think it might have opened up in that other window. I tried to, yeah, I wasn't fast enough. Well, I don't. I think maybe this app, this PDF app, won't do that. Any other app, if you hurry up and switch to a different desktop, it'll open up in that desktop. Unless it opens really quickly. It could be because it's opening quicker than I realized. But there we go. Stereo channels. It was still there. So here's the channel I'm talking about that I haven't, you can't really see in the video. It has left, it says mono. On the board itself, the labels are on the right, not on the left on the right like that, but mono left, balanced or unbalanced right. Now that's the right terminology, and that's what you would expect to be able to do is plug in, your right in the right and your left in the left of some stereo source. And that's how I've been doing it. But when I started panning on it to test my new cables, listening to it through OBS Studio, going through the mixer to the Vamp to the computer, through OBS Studio, out to the speakers, through the sound card on, the sound software, the ALSA and Pulse Audio software in the computer. When I panned to the left, it went down to nothing. When I panned to the right, it would get louder. And I thought, and I've been trying to figure out what's wrong on video and in my head ever since. And I thought I couldn't remember. I know I stuck the headphones on and messed around with them that day, but I was not feeling well at all and not thinking straight that day too. So, and I'm getting tired now, so I'm getting in the same situation. But at the beginning of this, I do still remember what I did, and after a while, I stuck the headphones on there. After I quit messing with that one new cable, put one of these. Well, this is not the same cable. Well, you're not seeing what I'm pointing. Got my hands on them, talking about them like you can see them. It's doing what it should. Those TR 3.5 millimeter to dual RCAs, they're doing what they should. That's what I use them for, is to either send a signal from something to the mixer, or go from my patch bay, my RCA patch bay up there, to a computer. From a computer to the RCA patch bay, then out to the amps. And so that's mostly what I use those for. But sometimes I use them for, going into the mixer or something. I have some better, I have some pro audio cables that I usually use to do that. But anyway, and here's the blurb on it. There you go, right there. Each stereo channel, see if I remember it right. Each stereo channel has two balanced line level inputs. Okay, two balanced, okay, on 1/4-inch jacks for left and right channels. If only the jack marked left is used, the channel operates in mono. Okay. The stereo channels are designed to handle typical line level signals. Oh, okay. Both inputs will also accept unbalanced jacks. Oh, it didn't say what I thought it said. It says what it should say. It's me. Okay. I was just too out of it the other day to understand it, to comprehend it. I read it 100 times. It says exactly what it does, and it says exactly what it says on the... It says... The thing that threw me off is whenever I was listening to it through OBS, like I said, left nothing, right something. But then when I just listen right on the mixer through the headphone outputs, it does exactly like it should. It pans left, pans right. So it's either something in the Behringer or in the computer software and all that, or even in the hardware of the computer possibly. But I do know that like I said, I recorded into Audacity. If you've never heard of Audacity, I'll open it up just to show you. And instead of, there it is right there. And I could have went ahead and tried some testing with this. I didn't think it would work, is why. But I fiddled around reading, talking about everything else I've ever bought instead. That's silly. But this is a real good and fairly easy to use, audio recording software, and you can actually do more than it defaults to 2 tracks, but you can do more than 2 tracks. You can keep adding tracks to your heart's content. There might be a limit, but and then you can like do bounce tracks. You could like record 2 and then add 2 more and record onto them, and then add 2 more and record onto them, or 1 if you're doing mono, mic input. Or you can record onto 1, and I think you can. I don't know if you can do that live while you're recording. I know if you have a mono track, you can tell it to turn it into stereo, duplicate it. You might be able to do that while you're recording. But anyway, what I was thinking is I could open this up and see if the input. Well, I have it open right now. Let's see. How do you monitor but not record? Well, I guess you're going to have to do a new. Oh, that didn't work. That just opened up a whole new. So it's ready to record. I don't want to just turn it on record because I'm afraid it will kill my audio, and I don't know if it'll even come back, in OBS. Now my stream's gone bad. But I'm too tired to think of how you do it. I haven't used it in months and months. But you can set it into monitor mode, and I can see whether or not, you'd see a signal right here and all that. But, click to start monitoring. There we go. Check 1, 2. Yeah. Now, still, if you started recording, I still don't know. See, we got 2 signals, though. Just almost equal. So, and I, like I said, I recorded, I digitized some cassettes into the computer and then gave the files to my friend so he could burn them to CDs for somebody and for himself, too. Some recordings he had made over the years. He was doing sound at a church. And so it worked really well for that. And let's see, how do you turn that off? So there we go. There's the, see, I am getting both channels. I wonder, yeah, I can do that without harming my mic. Let's see. I'm going to pan on the board. Nothing. Okay. Right goes to nothing. So I guess you're just fine as long as you don't pan. Right goes to everything, I mean. Oh, let's see. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. So check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. It could be a bad cable. Okay, so that's probably killing my audio in OBS when I do that. I never touch the pan. I never touch anything. Let me go ahead and let's see. Check 1, 2. Okay, I'll do it while they're both open. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Now, of course, my SM58 is not stereo. It's mono, but you should be able to pan left or right with the stereo. This is a stereo mixer, and you can mix in mono or stereo. I don't see the little button that's now I don't know how to stop it from monitoring, but I'm going to close the program. Okay, so now I could have done that without any problem. That did answer, and it also answered. I don't know why this didn't occur to me. Pan right while I'm talking. Everything doesn't show a change in the signal. But as soon as I lost right now. Okay, I can't remember to keep talking. No, I couldn't. Okay, but anyway, when I lost the signal, when you lost the signal completely, I did talk some. Okay, and I don't know if it gets any louder. I noticed when I was listening, it got louder when I went to the right. But now that's OBS takes a mono signal and makes it into stereo. So from what I remember, when you have an XLR mic plugged into a channel, you can pan left and right normally. Well, I can listen on the headphones and see. Because this is not a stereo signal, it's a mono. But I believe the mixer still kind of. Well, let me just do it. Okay. Now, check, check, check 1, 2. Well, I don't hear my mic near as much. Near as much as I did the music. I have to turn it up all the way. But am I going to change my gains? Okay, now check 1, 2, all the way to the right. Yeah, all the way to the right. Check 1, 2. Check 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. It's working in the mixer. It could be a bad cable. Just now realized, hey, it could be a bad cable. It could be could be the output cables. Okay. How am I going to do this? Check. Let's see. I'm going to go to the pan to the left, and then, well, that won't help. I'm going to unplug. That made noise, didn't it? I didn't hear it in the mixer. Something went crazy in OBS. Check, check, check. Unplug the left and nothing happened. Check. Check. Did already. Right, check, check. Oh yeah, so the panning's not going to really matter. Okay, so I guess I need to quit listening on the headphones and listen to my output on OBS Studio now. Okay, so I have no left. A signal still looks good, and it still shows to be stereo. So I need to... it may end up being just something to do with OBS Studio. Let's go to 1 and... First, let's move this out. We're going to see all channels. Go to 1 and desktop. One in desktop. And on the one hand, I'd like to see if I can see my preview, then I can tell what's going on, where I'm pointing, and what I'm doing. So I have the left unplugged, but it still looks exactly the same in OBS. Okay, now then, that's still the same. Now, when I unplug the right one, it's going to lose the signal. I'm almost certain. Check 1, 2, check. Oh, I didn't turn on the monitoring yet. Might be better to just watch the signal and not check. Okay. Now let's see if it changes anything to what I hear. Check. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That does nothing. Now then, check. Hey, we're probably going to go dead. We'll see. Oh, let's kill the desktop audio so you won't have a terrible echo. Okay. I think we have a bad cable on our mains. Let me get over here. I have another one I can swap. The right's working, so I never noticed it. The left is just buzzing. So, yeah, I won't try to unwind that. I know where the end of it is. Okay. Okay, this one's actually RCA, but I can put a couple of those adapters in there. Where are they? Had a whole bunch of them, and now I don't see any. I have all those other adapters, but that's not what I want. I must have put them away or something. Huh. I swear I had 2 more of those RCA 2 quarter-inch adapters. Right here on my desk. I guess I did something with them. Okay. Well, for right now, I'm going to use these ones I know are good, and then I'll worry about the ones I've been using here. I don't need my tape deck anyway. So, let's see. I'm going to plug this in. Let's see. Make sure I know what's what. Yeah, okay. Input. I'm going to kill the signal in a minute here. First, let's get this all ready. Okay, now check 1, 2. Check 1. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check. Alright. It works, but it's doing the same thing. Okay, check 1, 2. Didn't lose a thing. I think it's something to do with the Vamp then. Huh. But it works fine like that. So I'm going to go back to the way it was because I don't think the cable's bad after all. It makes it buzz just like the other one did. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Okay. Excuse me. I think I have my foot wrapped around that cable. Okay. I'm going to put these back like they were. Let's see. That, I think I'll put it back like it was last. That it did actually work for me to send my signal out. I forgot how I did it, but out of the earphones over to the second computer. That just so that I can decipher how everything is. Check, check. All right, so check, 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 check. I think it might be a little louder on the right, like it sounds to me in the headphones and stuff. Well, I'm pretty sure then that the cables are okay. Wiggling them doesn't really make anything. Well, I could do that. Yeah, that doesn't make it come in. Well, not long ago, I started hearing a little noise you know, coming and going and I was pretty sure it was a Vamp because when I would twist the cables, it would come and go, get worse and stuff. So I thought maybe it's just a connector getting, you know, needing a little exercising there. Just twist them to break up the not condensation, not corrosion so much, oxidation. But I don't need to monitor that anymore. It's starting to bug me too. But it could be, you know, the Vamp's really old. I got it in like '02 or something like that. Brand new, you know. But, and it actually spent most of his life in its little case under the bed because I wasn't using it for, it was really complicated for me to understand the directions that was of this thing. Lots of good directions, book full of it, of to how to set it up. You have to press this button so many times and press that button so many times to set it up to be noise gate compressor, you know, and effects for a microphone instead of guitar effects. That's what it's really for, is guitars. But once I finally got it out and figured it out, I was like, oh man, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? I kept thinking about doing it. Well, one thing I didn't want to do is because I thought, well, I was hoping when I bought it I could use it for, you know, the main output for guitar amp, and then the earphone output for microphone. I thought because you can do left and right, separate effects on left and right, but it just turns out that you can't do what I needed on each side, you know, separately the way I needed to. So, well, and there's not two. Well, there is two inputs. There's the aux input, but they're not separated like left and right inputs. There's well, this is left and right actually. This can be mono or stereo, the input itself. So if you had the right adapter cable, that's probably what I had in mind. You could send the right, you know, right from, say, you know, one side for guitar, one side for, but it just wouldn't. I figured out that you couldn't do that and get, it wasn't made for that. It was really made for recording your guitar. And so what it's made for is like your live effects to go through your amp, and then you could either send part of them. You could do an amp emulation, you know, box emulations and stuff, send that to your recorder. Anyway, I'm going into all kinds of details unnecessary for guitars. That's not what we're talking about. But okay, so anyway, either the things are getting old and the electronics is not working right, or the settings, maybe I forgot. That's one thing I forgot, that I actually never did have anything on the left. I just panned it over there. I have to either leave it, well, I just leave it in the middle. That's the simplest thing. Then you don't get confused later when you forget, because normally I just leave everything panned to the center. And you do get a full signal that way. But, yeah, I don't, from what I thought, that and like I said, when I was doing the recording, I had no trouble that I remember loss on the left side or anything. But well, I guess if you're panned to the center, then you are getting it on both sides. So it's the thing, yeah. But what I'm thinking is now I'm mixing in stereo and then sending it, and what it seems to me is that it is converting it from stereo to mono on the right channel. That's what the Vamp, seems to me that the Vamp is doing. Because I swapped cables, it's not the cables. I know this cable worked really good to record. This cable I just used as a swap cable. I used it to record to Mom's computer when I was using it as a backup stream computer. So either it always did that and I had forgotten or didn't figure it out, or it started doing that. And that's always a possibility. That I leave it unplugged though, you know, and like I don't remember the power going out while I was using it to you know, sometimes it doesn't hurt the electronics, but it can jack up the programming you have inside of these things, these embedded systems like this. But or it could be, I'd have to go back and get the instructions out to figure out how to check what I have set in there. I mean, I can see what I have on the front. I'm using, see which one. We'll see there's the light, the white, and then the kind of gray. And there's certain conditions you may be using one or the other of those, but it is on either, I think it's on tube preamp. Yeah, tube preamp. Then there's another one called below. If you're in the second chain of it, it's custom clean. That would be guitar amp. But tube preamp is the one that can be used for mics or guitars. And then, and then I have a compressor, and effects, which now it's in effects, but which ones exactly you'd have to be into the setup, and then a little bit of reverb. And you can adjust how much effects, whatever effect you're on, right there. But and you can add or take away reverb right there, and you got the master volume of that effect, bass, mid, and treble, and then the gain. And you can save your settings. So like if I move to this one I set up a similar but slightly different in case I wanted to sing. I put a little more reverb. And then actually I set up number C, I think. It's even a little similar but different. I can't hear it, so I don't know what's going on. And then these are really guitar effects are funky. And it's still got the tap light on. I can't remember how to get that to go off. And so there's that one. And they're real weird, you know, they're not the top. But I do remember once you get it where you want it, you hold the button in for like 2, 3, 4 seconds, and then it saves it. But and one thing, if you accidentally change something, you forget, you know, like you bump it or whatever, you can just go to one of the other effects and come back, and then it'll go back to the preset. Just make sure you don't hold that button in, that A, B, C, D, E button in for, you know, a couple seconds, or you'll save whatever you did. But I'm trying to say is get a drink. Now that's something I could check. Let me turn that where I can monitor it again. And I will listen as I do it. Okay, check 1, 2. I'll get rid of that. Desktop. Okay. Check 1, 2. Check, hello, check. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Check 1, 2. Okay. Now let's go to this B. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Yeah, same thing. It kills it on the left side. When you pan, check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Yeah, that one has a little more. Check 1, 2. Check, hello, check. One of my setup. Well, this one here, yeah, this is for me to talk. This one was for me to, if I wanted to sing, and this one was for when I was dubbing those tapes into the computer. I did put a little reverb because it sounded dead when I was recording. This crazy stuff. This is crazy stuff. And I just some guitar effects that I thought sounded kind of cool when you talk to them, so I just left them on there. Check 1, 2. Yeah, so it's the Vamp doing it. And like I said, I checked the cable, so there's still the possibility that the cable coming from the Vamp, which one is it? This one, to the computer is causing that. Very possible because it's a 1/4 inch TRS on that other end, which works as stereo, but of course the computer has 3.5 millimeters, so I had to add another converter, so it's this long, and it's been dangling. There's nothing to support it or anything. I could not with the lapels. No, I can't be on the mic and back there wiggling that cable at the same time. That's the thing. It could be that. Could very well be that. Yeah, that would be my actually first suspect. I'm kind of trying to think. Yeah. Well, I guess I can do. Okay, well, I can go back there. No, you have to be able to, like, hold it up, or move it to the left, move it to the right, and talk on the mic. I will have to. I'm getting too tired. I can plug it. I don't have another 58, but I have a 57. I can plug into the other channel and test that way. I don't want to take this out of this. It's really a big pain in the butt to get this out of here, you know. Well, it's not that bad, but well, I guess I could. There's only might be easier than getting out the other mic. It's all wrapped around so specifically around my stand. Yeah, I could get it out. Anyway, not now. So note to self, that check the cable going to the computer. I'm going to write it down. Well, I'll write it down later. Okay, so turn it, make sure everything is like it's supposed to be. Yeah. I'll unplug the headsets because I keep on getting my chair on that cable. Okay, so actually I'm making some, I might be going around the block 3 or 4 times, but I'm making some headway. I need to check that. I really do need to do a serious check of that. I messed with it the other day. I reached back there and wiggled it, and while music was playing, and I couldn't tell anything. Yeah, you could do it that way with music playing. You don't have to be on the mic. But the easiest way to do it, really, music is, well, because it's left and right signal for one thing. With the mic, I don't know. Music might work just as well. Anyway, I need to, might be better because you know for sure you have a left and right channel. I'm still pretty darn sure that even though it's a mono signal, it should still pan left and right. But I could be forgetful about that. But yeah, if I have some music with a good left and right signal, so like the CD player coming in here, and then you know, like make sure it's panning left and right in the headphones, and then go over there. Actually, I can go over there and wiggle around on that and still hear what's going on over the speakers. I won't be able to see the screen probably because I have to reach way around. But being able to watch the signal is really super helpful, you know. Let's make sure I didn't leave anything on that shouldn't be on. Okay. But I did leave the desktop turned off. That would be bad if I was trying to use that, and I do use that often enough. Okay, so yeah, I've got a problem to narrow down. I've been worried about that. I've just tried to stay away from it, you know, not yank any cables around back there that could get a hold of that cable and break that onboard audio input on this computer, you know. But the other day when I was checking cables, I went over there and kind of wiggled on it, and I said, boy, that thing has really got some slack in it now. So it's, you know, it's wearing on it. I had another computer that I kept using, I guess the same way, and it's gotten pretty loose too. I mean, I haven't used it for years now, but it got to where it could lose connection on one side or the other, just by kind of dangling, you know. It's just bad. Well, and I did it to my Alba jam box, plugging in a big old adapter like that. You really should spring for the little right angle adapters that are. Okay, so like if you're going to have to go from a 1/4 inch, like if you want to go from a pro style cable like these to 3.5 millimeter, you should get you a little, either make one or buy a little, you know, just need to be any longer than that, or maybe a foot long would be good. Female TRS on this end, and then a male 3.5 millimeter on this end. It can be right angle or straight, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's a nice soft cable and not this whole thing hanging out the back of your computer with another 1.5 inches, 2 inches on it on top of that. That's what been doing, because that's what you'll kind of, those are kind of adapters I already had, and they're also the cheapest kind. But you think, oh, I'll be careful with it, but then it ends up being several years, and you're still using it, and then now you've broken your onboard stuff, So don't do that, kids. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go now because I'm tired. And I've rambled. I was tired, or I would. I always ramble when I'm tired. So I'm going to go ahead and go before I ramble some more. All right. Bye-bye.